to the Trapman Sportscast. I got my guest host with me. I'm Monica Sheri, and I got my guest host with me, Peep Mani. You want to introduce yourself?
What's good? You know what it is, Peep Mani. We back around.
And then I got Simbay.
Yo, what's good?
And y'all know what we're here to talk about today. We are here to talk about Game 7 of the finals. We are also going to talk about the WNBA a bit. And we're going to talk about some recent trades that happened within the NBA that are going to cause some interesting changes for different teams. So let's get started. I guess we can start off on Game 7 because we was already talking about it. So I had the pleasure of going to the casino last night and watching the Game 7 live. And when Halliburton went down, it was rough. It was very sad to watch. It was disappointing to watch because I really wanted OKC to really face the Heat, you know what I mean, and like face them like straight up. And because he went down, it kind of seemed like it was an unfair advantage to a certain extent. But the Pacers still play with all their might. So I'm gonna have you, Simbe, get your thoughts on it, and then Monty, if you want to get your thoughts on the game as well, and then we can go from there.
Okay, yeah. So can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so my thoughts on the game. I thought the game felt like it was never really in question after Tyrese Halliburton got hurt. But I cannot go far as to say that the Pacers would have won if he stayed healthy because we know he can be kind of Jekyll and Hyde with his effort and with his aggression. So all in all, I think the better team won. I think the best player in the series won Finals MVP. And I think if you're OKC, you have to be encouraged that in the last three games of this series, you've seen a more aggressive defensive version of Chet Holmgren that should get better with confidence, experience, and as he fills out his body as he gets older.
Hmm.
And they avoided financial disaster. Because Chet is eligible for a contract extension this year. Jalen is eligible, and it's way easier to pay niggas after you win than it is to pick which one of these dudes we got to trade to get below the eight. It feels totally different.
Hmm. Monty, what you think about the game?
Well, first I want to compliment you on your shirt because, we gonna say Monica was right all along from day one. She's a day oneer out this junk. So, yeah, man. I think we knew what it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be a six, but the Pacers stressed it to game seven. I think when we look at both sides of the table and you look at OKC versus like it really wasn't a fair matchup because like we talked about in previous episodes, Halliburton is just a little sketchy out there. SGA was consistent. Jalen Williams came in, even though he was averaging 30 before going into game six. So when you look at just we go into depth as well, Pacer, I want to highlight something, okay?
Mhm.
Obi Toppin had 0 points.
Did
0 points. Okay, they really if he would have showed up with his normal 14 points, 12 points on average in the series that game, it would have been a closer game. It would have been a nail biter. And then obviously Tyrese Halliburton came out hot, hit three threes, and got injured. So Miles Turner did absolutely nothing once again. So it was one of those things where the basketball guys was definitely on OKC side to see them through,
Mhm.
but I really wish Tyrese didn't get injured, and I really wish I would have saw some of those key role players like Obi play a better game, and he got the minutes. It's not like he didn't get the minutes. TJ stepped up. Benedict, he stepped up, scored 24 points off the bench, 12 rebounds. Um, but we look at like Pascal really didn't contribute much on the boards. Didn't really contribute much on this. Like it was just kind of disappointing to see when Tyrese kind of went out. They didn't rally the way I thought as a team they would have rallied to
I
make
feel
it
like
competitive.
I'm sorry. You good?
No, that's it. That's
No.
my thoughts on that.
Nice. Okay. I feel like with Obi, I feel like when Tyrese Halliburton's on the floor, that's who he always looks for to assist, right? So I feel like with Tyrese off the floor, they didn't really know what to do with Obi Toppin at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like when they both in the game, like he's always throwing him that lob and everything. But unfortunately, he didn't get as many dunks or anything because there was no one to really assist him. Like I personally feel like TJ McConnell like played his heart out, but the
Yeah, he
problem
did.
is he don't play that many minutes every game. So we kind of
Yeah,
put
he's
like,
winded. He's
yeah,
winded. Yeah.
we put like way too much pressure on him. And then
Yeah.
Matherin tried to take over some of that pressure.
Hmm.
It just wasn't enough to get it done. And then I started seeing like Matherin went over and slapped Lou Dort, and I was like,
Oh wow, I didn't
you
see
know, like
that.
y'all see, yeah, like it was like they was throwing like cheap shots at each other throughout the game. I was like, see, like because I was sitting in there, I was like, see, when the Pacers start losing, they start throwing cheap shots, like they do it every time,
Hmm.
like not every time, but I did see that. It was getting a little wild. Him and Dort was going back and forth trying to hurt each other on the floor. It was crazy. But TJ McConnell stepped up so much and like I gained, I already had respect for him, but I gained like a newfound respect for him that he could really lead a team and he shouldn't be coming off the bench. I feel like he should be a starter, like going forward.
Whoa,
Well,
Yeah,
I
that's
okay.
feel,
What you got to say? Go ahead. I'm listening.
whoa. I feel like we all old enough to have seen in the NBA and NFL teams make
Hmm.
this mistake. A dude have a really good, have the best 2 weeks of his life
Hmm.
in the NBA finals. And then all of a sudden, I was telling my girl that the other day. I said, somebody gonna mess around and give
mhm.
Obi Toppin a max contract. They're gonna talk themselves into it. They're gonna tell them that whatever he did successfully for these 2 weeks, he
Yeah.
can do it in whatever city they in. And they're gonna be pissed off 2 years into his contract when they got to attach a kick to him to get him off the books.
It's Jordan
Um,
Poole effect.
he's seen it. It's Jordan Poole, and
Yeah.
we could probably name countless dudes like that.
Yeah.
Um, so no, do I think TJ McConnell should be a starter on any team? No, but he should be the first guard off the bench,
Yeah.
like Indiana's poor version of Kevin Pritchard in Boston. You come off the bench, you give us the best 20 minutes you got. If you hot, it's 25. If you cold, it's 15. And you just work him like a pitcher. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Just like that. But I think getting carried away, depending on him. And I think we want to see a lot of that this coming season with
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton out all season. We want
Yeah.
to see a lot more TJ, and it's not just going to be cute, fun TJ. It's going to be a lot of the 8 turnovers he had last night.
Yeah.
You
He
know,
did have so
um,
many turnovers.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He not
I
used to playing
when
every minute.
And I agree. I agree with him on that.
Mhm,
TJ is a. That's why we have six mans, right? Like,
mhm,
role players are very important to the game, and I think sometimes in modern sports we're like, hey, that guy's really good, like make him a starter. But and when you look at the Pacers, that's one thing that works for their offense. But Carlisle does it really well, and that's why he got so far in finals. Was he knew how to rotate his bench? Look at the Knicks. That's what hurt the Knicks because of that heavy. I'm going to play my starters 40 minutes a game, 35 minutes a game. Then you try to put your bench in the fourth game of the series, and it worked, and that's what kind of stretched it. But you can't do that. You got to trust them through
mhm,
the regular season and then into the playoffs. That's what Rick Carlisle did really good was he made adjustments like putting Mathurin on the bench because he was a starter during regular season. Towards the end of the regular season, he kind of was shoddy as we saw in the series. He had 7 point games, 8 point games. You look up, got 24 point game, 12 rebounds. So TJ McConnell, he's another one of those guys. He's not the conditioning. You can see um, how it affected him late in the stretches. Like he was winded, and that's why when people are like, why didn't they put him in the game? What was that game
I
five?
think it was game five. Game
Game
five.
five. They were like, why didn't they keep him in? Because he was tired. He was winded. Because he's not used to playing 30 something minute stretches. He used to playing 15-minute to 25, 22 really. And so when you're looking at an extra 8 minutes, it don't sound crazy, but like from a conditioning standpoint, it's a lot. So I do think we're going to see a lot more of him though in the upcoming year. I'm
mhm,
curious to see if they're going to try to get another point guard
mhm.
while Tyrese is out, healing that leg. But I definitely think he needs to stay on the bench though. But he did what he needed to do.
Yeah,
He did his job. You know.
Yeah, this is an indictment on Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, I
yeah,
know he got injured. We want him to get better. He's going to be out all next season. But to your point, Monty, I'm only supposed to Tyrese Halliburton, and even the way Rick Carlisle and the Indiana Pacers philosophy is, it's a greedy mindset because realistically, in NBA history, outside of like 3 or 4 teams in history, you only get one game for each role player, and sometimes both of those games is the same. Like you only gonna get one Obi Toppin game. You're only gonna get, if you lucky, a Obi Toppin game, a Mathurin game, and a TJ game. But like if you
Got
Indiana,
several
like,
Obi Toppin games though.
no, exactly. But shoot, they got greedy because there's a reason why everybody not paid the same. So
Mhm.
the players who are paying the most gotta be down to do the most, even when
Exactly.
their teammates can't. But if their teammates are doing it, they gotta be blowouts. Because
Hmm.
niggas gotta get off the floor and you can save us time for next game. So I think, with Tyrese's play style, you don't know if he's gonna drop 15, you don't know if he's gonna drop 20, and people making excuses. Well, he's not that kind of player, this and that. Well, that means you're the kind of player who you need Miles Turner to have multiple good. He gave you three. Let's be for real. Like we shit on him. Miles Turner not like that. So if he gave you 3 games, y'all better have gone 3-0 in those games. Because if
Yeah.
you turn around in Game 7 and Halliburton is gone, you tapped out of your what's the boy name? Miles Turner reserve. And you get to Game 7, you probably tapped out of your Obi Toppin reserve, and you most likely tapped out at the third quarter. That's when they fully emptied the TJ McConnell clip. That
Yeah,
was
you're
it.
right. That
It
was
was
it.
done. And on the other side, Shea Gildas Alexander, like we talked about superstars. People want to talk about, oh, he had to take 27 shots to get 29 points. But in Game 7, when everyone's tired, I can take those shots. I'm Shea, and that frees up Chet to get me 5 blocks. So maybe Siakam could have taken that mantle. Siakam finishing, what did he have, like 15 points? I know he had under
Yeah, something
20.
like that.
Yeah.
That wasn't good enough from Siakam, who is supposed to think to himself, I'm the only other max contract we got. I'm supposed to put up 20. I'm supposed to empty the clip because there are no clips for our bench players. Like you said, Mathurin was ass. Obi Toppin is a product of Halliburton. He
With
cannot.
Matherin, I feel like with Matherin, he also got benched because I don't know if y'all saw that game where he was going up against that female ref. Did y'all see that?
I don't remember that one.
Really aggressive and he got suspended.
Oh, okay. When they
Like,
brought him back, they benched him.
yeah, and they benched him. And I
Mhm.
never saw him like I saw him coming off the bench from that game on.
Yeah, he
Um,
has a sneaky little attitude, low key. Like
yeah,
It was
I,
real
you
it,
outdated.
know what? Like it was ridiculous to go back and forth. Do y'all feel like what was it about? Okay, so y'all don't like TJ McConnell at all. You don't feel like
I
he can
like
I
him.
like it.
I
over his
like him.
I
I
don't
like
feel
him where
like
he's
they
at.
should give him more money. I feel like they should give him more minutes, more chances.
Oh, if I'm TJ McConnell agent, we want more money. We just don't
Yeah,
want more money.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. I get
Because
it.
he's capping out. He's not getting, as we saw, he played
Mhm.
more minutes, and he, like you said, that after the third quarter, it was a wrap. Like he couldn't get no
Yeah,
more points because he has a heavy drive game, and that's very. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to tire you out. Like he's not putting up shooting. He's putting up faking. He's doing a lot of
Turkey jerky,
yeah,
jerky
movement,
movement. So
explosion.
it's a lot on the it's a lot of conditioning to play the way he plays, and he's in shape. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying for his play style and the minutes that he's used to expect him to really do it because he the 2 games he had those high scoring he couldn't get over 20 points. Like he did the fourth quarter he couldn't score.
yeah.
He couldn't.
But do
So
you feel like it's the style of the way that the Pacers play, like in general? Because I feel like I think I don't know if we talked about it on the last pod or if I was talking to somebody else. I feel like the way that they play is very tiring, and I felt like
fast pace.
yeah, it's too
Yeah.
fast though. It's
Yeah.
too fast, and because I even saw OKC in like the third quarter. They was getting tired. Like I was like, they're getting tired of these boys. Like they're so aggressive, and I mean that's a good thing because we want the sports to be fun to watch.
Hmm.
But I feel like they overdo it, and I feel like somebody like McConnell can't fit into that kind of space range, like only with it with like limited minutes because it's
Hmm.
too much.
Yeah, he slows
It's
it down a
too
bit.
much. Like watching Nemhard guard Shea was too much for me. It was
Yeah,
obsessive.
yeah. Well, that's all he had. Nemhard, that's all he really, and he got his steals on him, like. But Nemhard, I think he struggled through the series. That was another guy who, he's a drive type of player as well, and he'll hit you with a couple threes. But when you look at it, he's kind of in the sense of when we talk about T.J. McConnell. To me, like they're kind of similar, but Nimhard has more of a he can hit you with 3 point too,
Mm-hmm.
whereas TJ is not as efficient from three. He don't take them. Let's just say that. But
Yeah,
like,
I'm going to.
when we look at like how the Pacers play versus OKC,
Mm-hmm.
OKC really penalized Pacers style of play because they was really catching them on turnovers
Mm-hmm.
because they don't play in a set scheme. So when you're moving the ball so fast, and then OKC kind of adjusted to the way they played, which is what got him here. Why they do so well. And we
Mm-hmm.
talked about this. It's like no one offense and it's no one defense. And OKC really capitalized on their turn and was able to get them to turn the ball over at a high rate.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Pacers has to figure out a tempo because the tempo worked. You know, that they got to the finals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and I remember saying I was like, they have a really good offensive scheme because if Tyrese is playing good and the ball's moving and he's getting to the rim and they're getting 3 point shots off to the corners
Mm-hmm.
and like when that game is flowing, it's hard to stop. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And those are the games they won, honestly. You know, the ones that they was able to get flowing from the three, they got in the post. But OKC did really good stopping them at the post game, and then the threes, people just weren't making them. And so with that perspective, they didn't have the offense to match OKC's offense. The offense is like OKC is like the stable. I'm gonna keep every time down the court. Shay's gonna hit you at the free throw, or he's gonna pull up from the free throw. Like you get what I'm saying? So it's hard to stop OKC and the depth they have compared to like Pacers offense. It didn't work
Mm-hmm.
against that team.
The Indiana Pacers broke an NBA record in the NBA Finals. They had, let me see, make sure I'm right. They had 8 players. They had 8 players score over 9 points per game, average 9 points per game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a gift and a curse.
Hmm.
Because yes, it's a gift, but what it also tells me is, I don't know, Monica, I don't know, Jimmy, I don't know if you just said this, but they play at that fast pace. When the pace slows down, and now it's half court offense in a sluggish, ruggish game, who do we give the ball to? And that's why, yes, it's great to run that, and I said last time that was the battle in this final. You have a heliocentric team, OKC, built around one man, and you have a egalitarian team in Indiana built around this community scoring approach. But as we know in the finals, there will come a time where you can't pass around the collection plate. Somebody going to have to pay for this meal, and it would have had to either been Pascal Siakam or Tyrese Halliburton. And with OKC, there was no ambiguity whether he's having a bad shooting night or a good shooting night. It will be Shea taking 25 shots every game. That's what we're going to do. We're going to win and we're going to lose that way. That's why I brought up Giannis the last time we were on here. At least Milwaukee knows. When we look at the final game of our season, when it's a loss, we know we lost with Giannis having 30 points. If we lose and Giannis has 17, so many things have gone wrong. But if we lose, he got 35 points in a triple double. Maybe he should have passed more. Maybe he should have whatever. Ain't nobody getting fired for that.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with OKC. If OKC would have lost yesterday and Shea would have had 22, somebody losing the coach getting fired. We see it all the time.
Yeah.
It's the problem right now we have with Indiana is we saw Tyrese Halliburton not want to take responsibility. They told us he was moving the ball around for the series. He averaged 5.9 assists.
Mm-hmm.
That's not that's not in a 7 game series. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm not impressed with 5.9 assists per game in a 7 game series. He averaged 14 points, but he played 30 minutes. I'm not okay with that. And injury or no injury, I'm not okay with the fact that this was game 7. Out of 7 games, he attempted 8 free throws. I'm unokay with that. Like that's just what it
Wow.
is. I'm vehemently unokay with
Mhm.
8 free throw attempts from my mat. Let me tell you players who had more free throw attempts on the Indiana Pacers to highlight this problem. Ben Mathurin had 5 times as many free throw attempts at 41 than Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh, wow.
Andrew Nembhard had 22 free throw attempts. Miles Turner, who I feel like was missing in action, had 29 free throw attempts.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. That is
That's crazy.
Mm,
That's a mega problem, and that cannot be blamed. That
Hmm.
can't be blamed on nothing else. But your
Yeah,
boy just he didn't show up. He didn't show up, man.
mm.
No
All
yeah, that's
problem.
a big
all this
frustration.
for what?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's how he was getting his points was from the three. Like if you look at it, like even on game seven, he had which is a crazy another statistic is he had the most threes in that game. And he was in the game for all of 10 minutes, 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you look at it from the perspective of how he plays, and it's so funny, I saw this graph of how the players score and Tyrese everything from the right side of the court.
I saw that. I saw
Every
that. I
Yeah,
saw.
literally, he can't shoot on the
Yeah,
other
he
side.
can't shoot on the left side.
Yeah.
So it's like when you look at the strategy behind Tyrese Halliburton's offense, it's very just he just plays and that's I think why the superstar category he just can't fall into that category because he
Mm-mm.
doesn't have the range in his skill set. You know what I'm saying? He's very kind of like one dimensional and he knows how to make big shots at the end of a game. But that doesn't make you a superstar. That makes you
Yeah.
like but in 2025, that's what the kids like. The kids like the game winners and the guy who's willing to pull it at the last minute versus the guy who's the reliable one, like Shay. Everyone calls him a merchant, but that's the strategy of the game. How do you get the most points? Like how the fuck you mad at a guy for getting to the rim and that's the way he gets his points, and he's scoring. You know what I'm saying? His mid range, he's getting to the lane sometime. He might give you two threes. Like, what else could you want from the guy? He's giving you three steals a game, two blocks, 2 to 3. Like, what else could you want from this guy? You know what I'm saying?
That's
He
what you
averaged
play for.
5 rebounds and 5 assists, and like they was hating on him heavy, and I was just like, I see the hate for Shea online, but like to see it in real life, hear people saying free throw merchant and stuff in real life, which is crazy, and I'm just sitting here like, yeah, there goes my free throw merchant. I love it. It's great, in front of Pacers fans and everything. I was just like, I mean, I hear you, but you ain't saying nothing, and then to say, oh well, he's a free throw merchant, but he plays the best ISO ball. It's just crazy to me. Like, what are you talking about at this point? What are you even saying? Like,
Yeah.
literally, somebody said that out their mouth. I'm just like, and then they go, oh, the worst MVP in history, shooting bricks.
What?
I'm like, yeah, he was shooting bricks because the defense of the Pacers, what do you expect him to do? Like, every shot's not going to go in, but he kept shooting.
Shooting. Yeah, I love to
What are
see
you
it.
talking about? What are you even talking about?
I
It was
love to see
crazy.
it
The
though.
comments I heard, the commentary was just wild about Shay last night. I was just like, yo, I cannot. I cannot. Like, it was pissing me off. I was just like sitting there like, mm. And then they won, and I was the only one sitting there happy. Everybody was pissed.
Which is
Everybody was
crazy because like I'm so surprised more there's so many Pacers fans,
pissed.
especially in Maryland, this area. Like I don't even get the
Virginia,
logic.
so I was in Virginia, so
Oh, okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. That
so
makes
like
sense.
I mean, it was only probably like what, like 20 people there, but I'm just like still like the amount of people rooting, like I'm like nobody wants OKC to win. God dang,
That's
like
crazy.
to hate on Shea like this with all that he's done throughout the season, I just feel like it's very disrespectful and it's unnecessary, and I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with that. I'm
Uh,
just not. It's not okay.
you know, uh, you know, I know we all like stats. I love stats. I love data, and I love digging deeper. And I hate to pile on Tyrese, but the more stats you look at, and the deeper. Now I'm in the advanced stats on Basketball Reference.
Hmm.
My starting point guard, my starting point guard, who's on a max contract, had a usage rate of 21.8%. We can round it up and call it 22.
Hmm.
Pascal Siakam had a usage rate of 24%. Ben Mathurin at 25%. TJ McConnell at 27%. Obi Toppin at 20. Miles Turner at 20. So he's not even having the ball in his hands enough to even make the game better for others. And then his offensive rating was only 106. But his defensive rating, he's giving up 113 points for every 36 minutes he's on the court, meaning his offensive rating was worse than Pascal, was worse than Ben Mathurin, was the same as TJ, was worse than them hard. I mean, I don't know. But then you compare that to Shea, his usage rate, 34%. Offensive rate, 114. Defensive rate, down at 108. He was a better defender, a better offensive player, had the ball in his hands more. Guess what though? Jalen Williams was a better offensive player, but he was a worse defensive player this series. But he had the ball in his hands 30% of the time. So now the decision making is narrowed for OKC, and I think that's going forward. I wonder if teams are going to kind of go back to the superstar model because we keep seeing this. We
Mm,
keep seeing this kind of. We saw Phoenix try to do that against Milwaukee, even though they had Devin Booker, but Devin Booker he wasn't acting like himself, and Chris Paul
Yeah.
is a pass first point guard. We keep seeing this pop up every few years, and teams try to break the mold. They got the media campaign talking about play the right way, and it just the stats bear that it's not successful. Our eyes see it's not successful. So I
mhm.
don't know. I really don't have anything else on it, but I just think
Yeah.
that the style of play probably won't ever win many championships
Mhm.
um ever.
I
Yeah, I agree with that.
I just want to say congratulations to OKC.
Yeah,
Y'all really
congrats. They
did
did their
y'all
thing.
thing this season, and f all the haters. Like you
Well
already
deserved.
out there.
Well deserved. Well deserved win.
Well deserved. I watched like 80% of the games through and through, and they've just been my favorite team to watch. Them and I like really like the Rockets. I really like the Bucks. The Knicks have been cool to watch this season. And it's just been a good season overall. The Wizards, unfortunately, we just can't get it done.
No,
But
no, the Wizards on schedule. Don't worry about us. Don't
okay,
worry about us. We
okay,
don't ask you on us. We right
well,
on
I'm with
schedule.
it. I love
We
my
follow
Wizards.
our plan. We will holler at y'all in the year 2027. Do not mind us. We
Yeah,
got a plan on you.
we just here for now. How do y'all feel about the how do y'all feel about this recent trade?
Oh, Kevin Durant.
Durant to the Rockets and Dylan Brooks and Jalen
Jalen Green.
Green to the
That,
Suns.
that's a great segue because when you mentioned about those teams, you going back to the superstar structure. I mean,
Mhm,
KD maybe got at tops 3 more seasons than him, but this is like his last real season to like really give some go.
mhm.
This is it.
Healthy. This is it. Like
They
this
said
is
this the ring season.
Yeah, this is ring
Yeah.
season, and I think with Houston, this is a great team. I didn't like. I started liking the Houston's, and then when I saw how Jalen Green really played, and really saw the dynamics, and like Dylan Brooks is just a selfish ass player. Like I personally think they dumped off some trash to Phoenix, to be honest, because
Mhm,
Phoenix lost that end of the deal. To just be real, like they didn't have to give them no first round picks. They didn't have to give them shit, to be honest, to
mhm,
get the caliber of like Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Because Kevin Durant, when I looked at Houston and when it got into the playoff, I was like, damn, who's going to score? Like they have no scorers. And I think they banked on Jalen Green to be like a shot creator, a guy who can hit and make those shots. But then we saw like he's not ready yet. And he may never be ready because he's just not getting better. You
He
know,
don't
like
take it seriously.
yeah, he's getting worse. He is. I don't know. Maybe he's Drea. Maybe I don't know what the
It's
fuck
her.
going on. You know what I'm saying? But he's getting worse. So when you look at like a KD, it's like you put him in that mix. You got Amon, which is a
Mhm,
damn generational player. To be honest, I'm not like player, but like athlete.
mhm,
He's a generational athlete. And then you look at and they didn't even have to give up Cam. They didn't have to give up Jabari. They didn't have to give up none of those like good, really good role bench players that
mhm.
um really can come in and score. They can get the boards. So I'm excited to see how Houston. I think they're going to go deep because the West is a hard division.
It is, and I feel like this is gonna take some pressure off of Fred VanVleet because we did
Yeah,
see how he tried when he came back from that injury, he was stepping up, shooting all the threes, shooting all the points for the team. It was really ridiculous to watch.
yeah,
And so I feel like now with Kevin Durant having that experience, Fred VanVleet having that, and we've been hating on Fred VanVleet all season, don't mind you, don't mind us. But to see that he'll have someone to rely on to shoot a shot is healthy going forward for the Rockets. Trying to figure out. Let me look at Rockets roster. So let me see, because I really want to take a look at this to see who's gonna be. They haven't created it yet, but Alfred Sengun, Kevin Durant, Almond Thompson, Fred VanVleet. They really need to update this. Who do we have? We got Fred VanVleet, point guard, Kevin Durant, small forward, at the three. Who we got at
You got
the
Amon.
Amon at the
I don't know how there are a
small
lot of
forward?
bigs. I don't know how they're gonna shuffle them.
Yeah, because Durant can really play every position.
They're not gonna put him at the two. I wonder who's gonna be the shooting guard though.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Or do you think they're gonna make another trade?
No,
Mm,
they're out the trade business. No more trades.
yeah.
I think what happens is they elevate their rookie from last year, Reed Shepard. He couldn't get minutes
Um.
in the playoffs, but I think Fred Van Vliet, they re-signed him as insurance, but I think you see him. I think they're a good team. They got young players who can step up now, and KD creates clear roles for everyone else.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
KD is your small forward now.
So who's our
Amen
shooting guard?
Thompson.
We need a shooting guard.
His name is Amen Thompson. He doesn't have to be a small forward no more. He can be a big shooting guard. And then
Mm.
your power forward has to be, hey, it's Jabari Smith. It's time, my nigga. You are
Yeah,
on
it's
the
time.
team
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
My nigga, it is time. You are our starting power forward now, my nigga. And it is sink or swim time. And you will be traded by the All-Star break if you ain't giving us nothing because they got Cam Whitmore and they got Tari Eason. So we do
Yep.
not have to
That's true.
we do not have to play with you, young man. We won't give you the chance to start the season. Then you out of here if you're
Yeah.
struggling midway through. Absolutely, believe it.
Mm.
And they still got Steven Adams. They re-signed Steven Adams. I don't know if y'all
Yep.
saw that. They
Mhm.
Mhm.
quietly re-signed him last week. So they keep that interior toughness. They got
Yep.
an enforcement. They got Shingun a year later. And now Shingun he can still be the offensive hub. Got a little bit more shooting around him. Now, and that is the thing that will doom Houston. Like, just having KD does not make shooting better. I mean, not better, better. It doesn't make it better. It just, you got one person who can shoot now. Other niggas got to either step up or they might need to bring in some shooting. Um, but yeah, that is
You,
you
but
know
did y'all see Katie Smiler when they broke the news?
yeah, but
I
she
saw.
probably didn't
I
know.
didn't even realize. Like my friend had came and told me, and I'm like, "Yo, what?" I'm like, "Kevin Durant to the Rockets."
That
I
was
thought
a
he
great
was gonna go
trade.
to New York.
Fuck no. Fuck no.
That's a good.
Somebody said they thought Kevin Durant should
Mm-mm.
have went to the East.
Hell no.
I
Mm-mm.
mean, I mean, I think in retrospect, I don't know why he didn't go to the East. But yeah, I mean, KD
Going in and out. Can you repeat what you said again?
on an Eastern Conference team.
Hmm.
Oh, I was saying that KD on the Eastern Conference team would have been phenomenal. With no Indiana, no Boston to worry about, no Milwaukee because Dame was injured, it
Hmm.
would have been phenomenal.
Hmm.
If we'd have made it to the Knicks, they'd have won a championship next year.
Yeah, because is Jason Tatum also going to be out for the whole year?
Jason Tatum,
Mm.
Dame Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton, all three out for the whole year with Achilles rupture.
Okay.
All three done. So the East is wide open. That's why I went from hating Orlando's trade last week to
Mm-hmm.
now Orlando's trade is genius now. Because
Yeah.
now it's like, and that's why I texted you. If I'm Detroit, this year was going to be another stepping stone year. But if I'm Detroit, try to ramp it up and say, hold on, we could actually do something. And so that's the thing right now.
So who we got predictions next year Eastern Conference Finals real quick.
Finals? Like who's going against each other or who's gonna make it to the finals?
Like who's
The
gonna
Eastern
not who's
Conference
gonna
Finals.
make it, but who's gonna go against each other to make it to the actual finals. Like for the Eastern Conference actual finals. Um People looking at Cleveland, we looking at Detroit, are we looking at Orlando? What way are we looking?
I like right now early prediction. I like Orlando versus Cleveland. Cleveland having home field advantage.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you counting
Mm-hmm.
out Detroit.
I'm counting out Detroit unless Detroit makes some kind of move that changes my opinion. But I guess Detroit has two options. Either they use this as another stepping stone year, or they try to cash out. I think I'm a bit more cautious. I would just keep chugging along on the train that we're headed and not do nothing dramatic because you never know. Um, but yeah, I like Orlando versus Cleveland.
So y'all don't think the Knicks going back?
No,
Dang, I
because
on the Knicks.
I
I didn't
think
look at the Knicks. I think they could go back into the playoffs. I don't know how far they'll go. I want to root for the Knicks. I feel like there's some things that just need work. Like the fact that they fired their coach was ridiculous. Um,
yeah, they
the
should ask him if he want to come
like
back.
yeah, and just showing like Josh Hart going back and forth with the coach was just really ridiculous. Just overall, I feel like I don't. What do you think? You thinking a trade needs to happen? Like what are we thinking?
I mean,
New York is
I
tapped
think
out.
they need a. So when we look at what's the guy named Tom Thibodeau? That's a New York coach.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So okay, here's something I seen on a lot of like Gil's Arena, a lot of different podcasts talking about him getting fired, and some people was like, like yeah, he should get fired, and I'm kind of like on the fence about it because when I look at his style of coaching, he's not he doesn't intercede in some certain shit that he should intercede in when dealing with players. And it seems like he kind of takes a laid back approach. He takes his foot off the gas. And when you look at the way they lost that series against the Pacers, it was kind of like coaching. A lot of it was coaching. A lot of it was Cat on defensive end being a fucking liability like he is, and then you look at it from the perspective of adjustments. He didn't make adjustments. He just kept stuck with the plan and didn't change. So I think but only thing I don't like about them firing him was you don't fire somebody without a fucking idea of who you're replacing them with. That's crazy.
Right.
Like this isn't corporate America where you just put out a job posting. You're like, hey, who wants to come work for the Knicks as a coach? Like, you did that's crazy. Like you should kind of already have vetted people. And it seemed like it was kind of like an emotional decision
Mhm.
versus like a planned decision. So if y'all was gonna fire him, maybe I should have fired him depending on how this upcoming season was gonna go. You know what I'm saying? See what he's
Mhm.
gonna change, da da da. But instead they fire him because I feel like New York is just like that. They be like, yeah, nigga, you ain't made a cut. It's cutthroat. We're gonna fire you, and
Mhm.
y'all had no contingency plan. So
It's ridiculous.
yeah, I don't really like how they moved on that.
Yeah, I think with the Knicks, the Knicks, they handled their season embarrassingly. So I'm with everything Monty just said. And no, I don't. The reason why I chose Orlando and Cleveland is I never try to think of hypotheticals like, oh, if Detroit does this or if the Knicks do that. I like to kind of deal with the tangible, what I know. Obviously, that can change during the season, but what I know now is the two most talented, healthy, if healthy teams right now are Orlando and Cleveland. And I like them both better than New York because their best players are better than New York's best players. Their best two players are better than New York's best two players. Personally, I like Franz Wagner and Paolo as a duo a lot more than I like Jalen and Cat. And I think I like them a super lot more than I like Jalen and Cat. And I like Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley better than I like Jalen Brunson and Cat as a duo in terms of how they complement each other. I get the defensive player of the year with a growing offensive game in Evan Mobley. I like that more than Cat because it's one thing to wish. Oh, do I wish Evan Mobley was more aggressive in getting his buckets? I sure do. But I do like that if you beat Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland off the dribble, you probably aren't scoring at the rim because Evan Mobley is right there. That makes me feel safe. Same thing with Orlando. Now they fixed up what was their problem. They was 30th in the league in three-point shooting last year, and they were 29th in the league in assists. Now we got Desmond Bain. He can shoot the three. They can open up the floor more. Now Paolo can drive. And now when Paolo is driving, when you collapse on him, he can kick it to somebody. And then Franz, he gets busy too. So I really like that. If I'm doing anything else, if I'm Orlando, I want another shooter. If I'm Orlando, I'm looking into the TJ McConnell business if he becomes available this year. Like I don't know if he's a free agent. If he is, I'm sniffing in that business. If I'm Orlando, I'm checking in with Phoenix because we know Phoenix is not going to keep Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. They're going to reroute them. If I'm
Yeah.
Orlando, I'm sniffing into the Dylan Brooks business. Is he available? Can I have him? So that's what I'm looking for. If I'm If I'm Orlando, I probably want one more shooter to make me feel extra secure. But all things equal, I like them and Cleveland to meet in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay. Nice. Okay, so going forward, let's get into the last topic. Have y'all been tuned into the WNBA?
Sporadically.
Yes.
Sporadically. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been watching most games when I can, when I have time, because unfortunately, a lot of the games were coming on during the conference finals and just at random times where, I have to watch 3 games at a time. It's no possible way I could sit here and watch 3 games at a time.
Exactly.
Pay
The
attention to
times
this
suck. The
play.
times are bad. It's
Yeah,
bad.
it's really horrible. So
Yeah.
just like today, there's no games on. And it's like, why are
Mhm.
there 4 games tomorrow?
Should have
Mhm.
definitely been a game on
Talked about
today.
this last time.
Yep.
Me
Yep.
and Simbay talked about this last time. It's really ridiculous.
Mhm.
So, what is it? The New York Liberty. We saw them win last year. They won a championship, and that was great to see. John Quill Jones has been in and out with injuries. Just an update on her. Um, Liberty have been fighting to win. They've had a good record. Minnesota Lynx have had a good record. Who else? We're looking at the Seattle Storm and the Phoenix Mercury. Um, y'all have any thoughts on those players? Have y'all seen any of the games at all?
So one team that I'm excited about,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of talked me into them, so I started paying attention to them more, watching some old highlights and some recent games.
Mm-hmm.
The Seattle Storm is a
Yeah.
sneaky team. They uh they kind of bubbling like right now they're fifth overall in the league and they're third in the West. They a sneaky team. They kind of remind me of a higher pitched version of the Indianapolis Pacers, except
Mm-hmm.
their top end scoring is a lot more reliable. But they do have a lot of people who can contribute on a game to game basis.
Mm-hmm.
Same now, when we talk about the Liberty, the Donquell Jones injury, they've lost their last 2 games, right? They need to, I'm not worried about the Liberty, but I do recognize they need to regroup. And then lastly, not to take up too much of the time,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, will Las Vegas course correct or has multiple years of deep playoff runs kind of bit them in the butt in terms of injuries? We know sometimes teams who consistently make deep playoff runs in all sports, NBA, NFL, WNBA, it catches up to you. You get those seasons from hell, as people like to say, where
Mm-hmm.
things just can't go right. I'm wondering, is that where we are with Las Vegas this year? Asia Wilson, she was in the Olympics. She played in the championships. I mean, she almost made the championships last year. She didn't, but and then she came into this year, and it just seemed like she just wasn't herself. And then she got injured, so that's really my only thoughts right now.
They did
Um,
Indiana last yesterday. 89-81.
yeah, yeah.
And the Caitlin Clark hate has been ridiculous. Okay. Monty, you got any thoughts before I get into this Caitlin Clark nonsense that happened recently? Because that kind of pissed me off.
Yeah. So yeah, before you get into Caitlin Clark, I like the Mystics, man. I mean, I gotta find some symbionts of hometown pride somewhere, and I think the Mystics is the closest I'm gonna get to it. And
Yeah.
just seeing how like Kiki's played, and what's homegirl with the color? Like she always got color
Tanya
in her.
Citron, Brittany
Mm-hmm.
Sykes.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. So
we got the girl with the color hair. What's her name? Oh my
what's
god,
her name?
I my hair last night. Hold on.
She had a great game against Atlanta, which is our low key. So it's so funny. I used to go to a lot of Mrs. games. I remember one
And
game.
she's from PG County.
Okay,
I,
we was playing Atlanta, and Atlanta's low key our rivals for real, like low key. And so I remember like these girls from Atlanta was in the stands, and it was some
Shakira
DC
Austin.
Jones. What's her name?
Shakira Austin.
Yep, Shakira.
Hmm.
So some and so I remember there was a lot of bickering back and forth, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I like to see.
Hmm.
Like the fans is like in it, you know what I'm saying? So like for me, seeing like what the Mystics are doing, I'm excited to see how they push it. Um, towards. And I'm not saying they're gonna be a deep contender for playoff or anything like that, but I think they definitely gonna make it. They had some good wins this year so far.
Hmm.
Um, I like the young players that's coming up, like Paige. I like how they kind of coming in fearless.
Yeah, with the
They don't
wings.
give a fuck about who you are. She's dropping 30 points. She's You know what I'm saying? Like,
Paige is
and
so useful on the
yeah,
court.
Paige is she's a great teammate. You know what I'm saying? Like she's kind of coming in with a high level energy level that I think is refreshing. So I like what the young players are doing in the WNBA. I think they're definitely. I know a lot of people talking about Neil and how it affects the gameplay, but when you look at it from a women's standpoint, I think it drives a higher quality versus like from the men's standpoint. You know, it's just that difference in pay is where you see the difference in culture. But sometimes I think with the NIL it can work, and I think when you see that in the women's side of the business, it works really well.
Mm-hmm.
So and that kind of leads into like Caitlin Clark, and she's the Steph Curry of the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she's a white girl, and people don't like her because she's really good, and she got. I don't like her posture on certain shit. Like I don't like
Mm-hmm.
her kind of like attitude with her teammates on certain plays. You know what I'm saying? I do think she needs to kind of adjust how she. It's women, right? Women like we just it's just different energy. For a man, it might come off as
Yes.
aggressive. For a woman, you coming off as bitching. You get what I'm saying? And I think it's just a different concept of how the world sees women than they see men. So she can do the exact same thing, but the way it shows up, it's just not good optics. Where it shows up as good optics for men. So I just think it's some things like she can polish up because she is the face of the league. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
they want to make Angel Reese a face, but Angel Reese can make a fucking layup. Like let's be
Yeah.
frank.
She
Um,
she's ugh. And
it's not it.
So
and
before
like
you get
they
in
gonna
your
have his thoughts on that.
before you get in your Caitlin bag, I want to double back on our Washington Mystics 2019 WNBA champion. Please respect
Mhm.
this. Thank you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but like you said, Monty, we a young team. I just looked at the roster. Out of the, I think it's 15 players on the roster. I'm not about to
Mhm.
count
Yep.
all of them, but we only got two players. Brittany Sykes and
Yep.
Stephanie Dawson. Stephanie Dawson,
Yep.
my former neighbor. We lived in Arlington, next door to each
Yeah, that's
other.
what's up.
Shout out to her. She had them coming through. Okay, and
Mhm.
I'm not talking about I'm talking about okay. And she was driving that Mercedes Benz. I'm telling you, she was for real. But we only got two players who are 3 years or longer in the WNBA. All of our players are either rookie, first year, second year, or third year,
Yep.
and then we got an 8-year vet and 11-year vet. So, like I
Mhm.
say with the Wizards, there will be growing pains. But
Yeah.
like you said, it's I don't mind if the young team is losing games if they're losing games in a way that speaks to their youth. So if the game is close and we can't close in the fourth quarter
Mhm.
because we're just too young, I'm cool with that. That's how the Wizard season was. A lot of close
Mhm.
games.
Yep.
Fourth quarter comes. They got niggas with kids and families. We gonna lose
Mhm.
to them, and I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. That's what OKC won 24 games 3 years ago with the
Mhm.
same core because you just can't. You just when you're 23, that's all you're going to be. You're not going to be 32 just because you need to be right now. So I'm cool
Mhm.
with that.
Yep.
With the Caitlin Clark thing, I mentioned this to somebody else the other day. I don't know if I mentioned it to Monica. I know for sure I didn't mention it to you, Monica. It's not just a Caitlin Clark issue when people are saying Caitlin Clark's getting hate. There is a generational shift happening in the WNBA, and I think there's a lot of veterans in the W right now that's hating hard on, I would say,
Oh
players
yeah.
in their
That's
third
true.
year or fourth year below. Because let me tell you what, take Caitlin Clark out. The little girl who got drafted first overall for Dallas, she came off injury. She is cooking. Okay,
Yeah.
and they
She's cooking.
talking shit. These
Yeah, she's
girls
talking
came
shit
into
too.
the
She's talking shit.
and they're coming into the WNBA millionaires. So they not it's not rookies of back in the day. Yo,
Mhm.
go buy me my stuff from the store. No, this rookie pulling up in something better than you. They talking they shit. Angel Reese, she came in last year as a rookie, broke the WNBA rebounding record as a rookie. Most double doubles in history as a rookie. She came back this year. She averaging 13 rebounds a game as a rookie. I mean, as a second year player. So I also think what men and also women who are talking about the WNBA seem to fail to understand is the WNBA has less teams, less players. And I think people wrongly assume that because there are less teams and less players, the game is less competitive. When it's actually the
Oh,
reverse.
More.
so
Because it's
competitive.
Yeah.
less, it's a high, it's the most competitive sports league of any gender, of any sport, because there are players who got drafted first overall 4 or 5 years ago who aren't good enough to be in the W right now. You
Yeah.
can linger because the NBA got 30 teams. You can linger around. You cannot do that. Also, everybody in the WNBA is spending 1, 2, 3 years in college at minimum. Sometimes four. Sometimes they go from
Don't
team
they
to
have to
team.
do
Angel Reese
4 years?
went from, I think it's
I
three.
think they
It just
got to
got to
do
be
4
three. No, they only got to do three, but they typically do four because you're getting paid more. But the point I'm making is that they're coming in playing at a higher level than the men, but they're also more credentialed than the men. So Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, that's some Larry Bird magic type shit, but we don't get that in the NBA because typically it's not like we get players who play in the national championship against each other and then come into the NBA good. We'll get a Zion, they didn't make it to the NCAA tournament finals. And it's not like it's Zion versus Jaw. They made it to the finals and now they're playing each other in the NBA and they're at the same level. So I think the WNBA, the rivalries are built in because these girls who get drafted usually make deep tournament runs. You might have, Monty might have went to South Carolina. I might have went to Tennessee. I might have played against her in the regular season, played against her in our conference tournament, and probably thought I was going to play her in the big tournament. So when I see her, she already know I don't fuck with her off top. And if she driving
Yeah.
to the lane and she having a good game, understand elbows coming from my way, and I don't
Mhm.
care what she thinks about it. I don't care what the public think about it. I damn sure don't care if she's the face of the league because she been knew when she came to this stadium that there was a nigga in me who ain't like her for 5 years. And I'm not about to start liking her now just because her presence in the same league might make me more money because that's the opposite way that an athlete minds work. So I think when people are patronizing Caitlin Clark, they're patronizing women's basketball as a whole because these girls got built-in rivalries with each other that probably go back to AAU. I'm talking about the whole league. They the best of the best, and so height frustrations are high. But as far as the money, I feel like with the WNBA, the money gonna come because nowadays when I'm at the gym, niggas is asking when the Asians come out, and then as soon as the Asians drop, they sold out in 5 minutes. You know when Nike released the Caitlin Clark shoes, them shits gonna go stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sabrina IS, I think Sabrina, she had the most worn shoe in the NBA of any player outside of
Yeah.
Kobe's. So
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
WNBA is growing, but with social media, the people who talk loudest seem like they're the majority of opinion when not really because it took the NBA 50 years to get an NBA Finals game that wasn't on tape delay. So I think we're getting closer and closer to that time with the WNBA. I know the games are live, but I mean in terms of when they hit that everybody's a millionaire moment. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying Caitlin Clark is that player, but I think Caitlin Clark is the player who gets our mind ready for that player. Almost like she's the John the Baptist to the Jesus of the WNBA. Not to take to the extreme, but she's gonna open our minds to
This is
WNBA
what these women are
superstar is
doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Like 25 years, I think has been WM. It's not long. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been
mm-mm,
around longer than WNBA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
super fast rise.
it's not. It hasn't been. And then you look at women's sports. Like we fight like that. I played ball since I was a kid. Like so, coming up, that's normal. You're gonna fight. Like you're gonna. I don't know what men think of basketball for women, but like it gets aggressive. You know what I'm saying? And so
Very aggressive.
you made a great point to me when you said you've been seeing this person since AAU. Like you know I don't fuck with you. Like you know it's a rivalry between us. So
Hmm.
when we get to the league it's not going to change. If anything, it's going to be amplified. And I think when you look at
Yeah,
WNBA, the W, and there's a lot of plans on. I can't give details, but I'm privy to like there's expansions happening right now. Like there's bids going on right now for new territory, for new regions, and so there's going to be a lot of growth, exponential growth, within the next 5 to 10 years. that's going to open up the WNBA to an audience that are kind of just now peeking at it through the Caitlyn lens. You know what I'm saying? So she's definitely breaking foundation on something that's to come, because like, she's definitely a talented player. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the WNBA the model of what that looks like, she's coming out and hitting threes from the logo. Like, that shit is exciting. People want to see that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited. And then you got Angel Reese, polarizing as she is. You know, she's polarizing. That's all. You know what I'm saying? That's all you need. You need those players that people are like, she sucks, she can't hit a board. But then on the other end, you're like, she's averaging 13 rebounds a game. She's the only player to do this. So when you look at the perspective, it's so easy to we just want to get them talking. And I think the W is doing that right now. They got people talking and watching.
With that Mercury game the other day between her and Sabelli not getting any rebounds, Satu Sabelli, that was absolutely ridiculous. Oh, and unlike the NBA, which has allowed NCAA athletes to leave college early to go pro for more than 50 years, keep this in mind. The WNBA restricts players in the United States from entering the draft either before the year they turn 22 or graduate early.
Okay, 22.
How do y'all
Okay,
feel about? Do y'all feel like
before
that's
the
a bit
year.
sexist or
I think they should keep that rule though for
that's
the
crazy?
girls, uh, because and it helps the girls out because first of all, like we have talked, we're talking about the future of the WNBA. It's bright as a motherfucker, but we also got to balance that out with the present. The present is if there's a little girl in my life, and even if she's on LSU Connecticut, she just won a championship. Let's say she's 22, about to, or let's say she's 21, she turned 22 at the end of the year, so she draft eligible, and she like Simbay, I think I might forego my senior year. Be like, baby girl, that's not what we're doing. We're gonna get this degree. We're gonna tax them on the NIL for that last season, and then we're gonna go to the WNBA. Because if you are a WNBA player, here's probably two things you got going on for you right now. You might not make as much money as an average NBA player, but I guarantee more WNBA players still have money when they retire. They have degrees, and I'm pretty sure they get tremendous job opportunities once they graduate. Like let's be for real. You could be a consultant if you was a WNBA player. Like, and let's say I'm Deloitte or PwC, and you trying to be in charge of whatever division, and you tell me you got a degree from Notre Dame and you just got your master's and you played 7 years in the WNBA, nigga, I mean, your life's that to me. Whereas an NBA player, a lot of them coming to the league at 19, they most likely won't go back to school to get their degree. They're gonna blow all of their money because they come to the NBA still as teenagers. So when they graduate, if they're not working with ESPN or on some type of podcast giving them money, then they are liable to go broke. And so that financial gap that they would have made probably diminishes over time. So I don't know.
So
Caitlin Clark got a degree, and Reese got a degree. I think we need to make sure the girls have to be forced to finish college until the WNBA is giving them enough money to where they can retire and they never have to work again.
Hmm. Okay, and that makes sense because I mean, but I feel like it should be like that across the board to some extent in order to keep everyone responsible for themselves and to keep everybody, just on their toes and everything. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. But I get it. It's the world we live in. But I want to get into this Caitlin Clark clip because this was crazy. I don't know if y'all saw this. So she was shooting threes out the bag the other night against the Connecticut Suns. Like I don't know, she put up what like 20 something points against them, right? So watch this. She got into it with JC, and I'm gonna
20-point lead. Caitlin Clark with a few words with JC Sheldon and keeping the crowd engaged.
And Chris Miskelly escorting her back to the bench.
JC Sheldon is there with her hand in her face.
trying to get to the clip.
Going coast to coast.
Hold on. Okay, that's after.
Wilson had it knocked away. Good hands by Allen. And Sheldon comes up with the steal. Wilson had it knocked away. Good hands by Allen. And Sheldon comes up with the steal.
Okay, so I
Sheldon going
think
coast to
so much
coast.
about my team.
And here's we got another
This is Sophie coming
break this
for
here. Stacey Sheldon goes right after Sophie Cunningham. It was
that
a
was
hard
after
foul.
they
No.
slapped Caitlin Clark. It was ridiculous. Hold on, let me see. I'm just trying to get the clip.
Be there for her teammate, but this is
Look, hit
excessive.
her right in the face.
It looked like it was an accident when JC Sheldon originally hit Caitlin Clark, but then
And then
it was the
it comes
aftermath
out the
of
blue.
which looked a little
And
bit.
I'm just like, why would you do that? Did y'all get to see that clip or no?
Yeah.
I mean, like, why?
Yeah,
Why did you feel the need to slap her? And then Marina Mabry comes with her big and go and knocks her on the ground. I'm like,
Because
because
they
I don't
hating.
like her, man.
but
She's not on
it's
my team,
weird. But
and
it's weird. But it's weird.
it's
And they
not
got
weird.
they didn't
We
get a
praise NBA players.
they didn't get a technical.
It's
And you
not.
try to slap her twice.
Yeah, because you cooking. I don't like that you
But then you
cooking.
take Sophie
I'm hitting
Cunningham out of the game. Are we serious?
That's to me. That's women's basketball. I like
Come on, white
because I played it like so long. Organization, like organized basketball. That's really how it is. Like
Mhm.
men's basketball is way more structured, different. I think they look at men differently in that way. Women, they gonna let you kind of like go at it a little bit and be like, all right, separate, go back. Like it's, but that's the part that makes it a bit entertaining. You know what I'm saying? Like people gonna want to tune in. Like shit, what's about to happen next? So, but we scrappy. Like we got something to prove. Like it's a different energy being women in a sport. Especially a sport like basketball.
Mhm.
So, and I think, and I agree when Simba said earlier, like looking from a perspective, it's such a small organization, right? So you're gonna different like in the West. There's time where like they only play that team maybe twice that year. With
Mhm.
Mhm.
the WNBA, you're playing the same team maybe 4 or 5 times in the regular season.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So you're seeing these people out there's history. Caitlin Clark has this bigger than life kind of aura. I wouldn't even say persona, because to me she's just a regular white girl, to be honest. And
Mhm.
no shade, no offense, but like she's not like Paige to me has more like aura around her. But
Personality.
you know what I'm saying? Like she got more swag. Like she's more like the presence. But like Caitlyn just show up. Like if you didn't know she played basketball, she was just like a regular. You know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't know. So I think also like they're kind of testing her toughness. It's like their version of like we gonna make you earn the thing that everybody keeps saying you are.
Yo.
Yo, timeout. Am I late to this? Did y'all hear that Azzy Fudd, DMV native, she was the number one recruit in the country, I think going from St. John's when she originally went to UConn, it is, but I know she had
Yeah,
the ACLs in college. But Azzy Fudd and Paige Buchers
yeah, that's the girl.
confirmed that they in a relationship.
Yeah, that's a
Oh
Listen,
girl.
wow.
that's man, that's fire.
Yeah,
I think that's fire. I think that's lit. I think
Everyone was
that's lit.
trying
That's
to
all I'm
figure
saying.
out was page for the girls or the guys.
yeah. What?
Trying to
She
figure
went
that
to
out.
prom in a fucking suit.
Nah,
I ain't
shout
followed her
out to
that
them.
long. So
Yeah, she not like but she went to her even the draft. She was like she wears around a lot of blood. She's of the culture. Like let's just say that.
yeah,
Let's just say she of the
That's
culture.
fire. That's
yeah,
fire.
that's fire.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah,
I love me some
that's fire.
page.
But no, I'm just. But I was gonna say about the Caitlyn thing. I think to piggyback one more time. Like I think also it's also a symptom of men's sport getting softer.
Mm-hmm.
This year was my daughter's first year playing organized basketball with her school. They was playing in DC. The girls team, most of the girls had never played basketball before, but we finished the season 4-1 because when I would be in the huddle with them, I would like after the coach would say his shit, I'd be like, "Girls, here's the thing, fuck all that other shit. We get 6 fouls per person. Use them. A nigga get the cooking right there. I'm swear to God. I mean, I'm not swear, but I'm just saying that's what I would tell them. That's how we would win every game. They were going to run first time out. I go from the stands to the huddle. Hey, number 6 over there. She cooking a little bit too much. I'm seeing the Borettes go up and down too much. I'm not seeing her hit the floor enough. We start doing that, we won almost every game like that. Conversely, our boys team went 0-5. Why? They weren't aggressive enough. Everyone's trying to get in the bag and they're not trying to win.
Mm,
Now, take this to the WNBA. The WNBA, it's less. I can't emphasize this enough. It's less players, less teams. That means there's more elite players. That means more games in the WNBA are going to be won on the margins of skill. So yes, Caitlin Clark is cooking. We the most skilled niggas in the league. So now we got to get violent. It's kind of like if you go back to the NBA, as they started adding more teams, the violence got less. In the 80s, it was less teams. 90s, less teams. What did you see? Hard fouls. Because we all elite. Once we all get to be an elite, now we got to see who's willing to take it there for the W. We can all dribble, but who's willing to lay this nigga on the floor and be known as the nigga who lays niggas out? You see, Detroit was willing to be known like that. The Celtics was
Mm-hmm.
clotheslining niggas. Magic Johnson kissed Isaiah Thomas on the cheek. Kissed him on the cheek. Their wives hung out together. Their kids played together. They didn't talk for 30 years after Isaiah was put on the floor by Magic because we cannot be friends with the title on the line. And that's what you didn't see in this year's NBA Finals. You barely saw any text. This was the softest finals you ever seen. This year's and last year, you ain't seen nobody get hit. Tyrese Halliburton cooking, they letting them cook. Shea cooking, they letting them cook. Back like not even back
no,
in the day too
they was
far ago.
they was trying to beat Shay up.
No,
I seen a few.
no, not the same. Not the same. Not like in 2022 when you had when Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum was cooking, and Draymond Green said, "That's enough. That's enough. Thank you guys for showing up. I'm putting belt, and I'm not. When I say I'm putting belt to ass, he wasn't trying to outscore niggas. He
Yeah,
wasn't. He was like, "That's enough. This is it. I appreciate y'all for
God.
showing up, but it's over now." And and so that's what's happening in the WNBA. And I think with expansion, the league gonna get softer. But right now, yeah, Caitlin Clark, you shooting logo threes, that's cool. It ends now. That's all it is from game to game, and it makes
yeah.
it more exciting because she's not gonna back down. Caitlin Clark still gonna talk her shit. She might drop
Mm-hmm.
40 on you while you get kicked out the game. But that's what makes it exciting. And I think the people who are talking about women's sports and saying it's a problem, they just showing they don't watch not only women's sports but all sports. Because any sport at the high level, when it's elite versus elite, it's the margins that's going to be amplified because they can only shoot so well when you get the best shooters on earth together in a tight confined space.
Mm,
So that's what it
nice.
is.
I love how you did that. I like that. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because I seen the New York I forgot which team they was playing, but John Paul Jones was on the floor. They was whooping. I forgot who it was. They was whooping the crap out of him. Might have been Connecticut or somebody. And they was just looking, and John Paul Jones just like, y'all ain't built for this. Like y'all ain't built for this.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all ain't built for this.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
what they
like, yo,
do.
they doing them dirty right now.
They used to it though. They used to it, man. They been getting beat up since childhood playing. But if you play ball as a female, even men, but it's like different with women. It's just different. It's catty. It's petty. It's
Yeah,
the bitch going elbow in your titty. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just different. Like you know what I'm saying? You're gonna get those heat check moments,
mm,
and you're not gonna get the call either. Like you might get the
yeah,
call, you might not. NBA is soft now. It's a flopping league.
yeah.
You don't get that. You're not getting no flop in the WNBA. They ain't calling shit. You fly on the ground,
Hmm.
get your ass up, get back onto the play. So
Yeah, a lot of flopping going on. But
yeah,
yeah, this was a great conversation. I thank y'all for being here. Do y'all want to tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find your work?
I
yeah.
just wanted
My
to
bad, my
say,
camera ain't working. But
It's
go
okay.
ahead, Simba. Go ahead, Simba.
no, I was gonna say to Monty about you saying it's a flopping league, and I think to that point, that's why we see over an 82 game season in the NBA. That's
Hmm.
why the number of reliable players you can count on once we get to the playoffs and even deeper in the playoffs where they blow fewer and fewer whistles. That's why
Mm-hmm.
we see who can really be that dude because you've been flopping for 82 games. And so
Mm-hmm.
now you're used to it working, but now you drive to the lane, you cock your neck back, and it's no call. And so players get kind of confused as to like, hold on, this is you see James Harden. It took James Harden his whole career, and he still never fully
Mm-hmm.
adjusts to not getting those 10 to 15 points from the free throw line that he usually gets. We saw Shea adjust, but we
Mhm.
saw Tyrese Halliburton fail to adjust. And
Mhm.
so to that point, the physicality, it does, and also it catches little boys also the same. Like the little girls are more
Mhm.
physical in game, and then they go back to being little girls right after the game. Whereas the
Mhm.
boys are kind of their floor for aggression is high, but what you see when push come to shove, can they take the aggression to the point where it's too far? And they can't do it all the time. And you saw that in this NBA Finals. Whereas I know the girls in the WNBA, and also because they play high level college ball, right? Like right now,
Mhm.
Ace Bailey,
Yeah.
he might be the third overall pick. He didn't even make the tournament. Whereas that would never happen in the W. Can you
Yeah.
imagine the WNBA drafting a player number one, number two, number three, who not only didn't make the tournament but didn't win 2 or 3 games in the
No.
tournament? So
No.
if push comes to shove, if Caitlin Clark got to, not saying she should, she gonna punch a bitch in the face for the W, for the win.
Mhm.
We don't
Mhm.
know. We spent 7 games until that nigga blew out his Achilles. We spent 7 games wondering when we're gonna see the Halliburton
Exactly.
moment. We spent 7 games. We don't have to do that in the W. I know Nafisha Collier going to empty the clip with the championship on the line, and I think that's a growing problem, not just not just limited to the W versus the NBA, but I'm not trying to expand, go nothing crazy, but it's a problem versus men and women right now because we're seeing men are able to gesticulate
Mhm.
aggressiveness, but then when
Mhm.
it's time to be aggressive, they are not aggressive in the ways they need to be aggressive.
Mhm.
So whereas I think my homie, he's an educator, he sent me a stat. He said 75% of current students undergrad at Howard, 75% are women, only 25% men. And you kind of start to see that now, like when I'm volunteering at the school, I'm seeing the
Mhm.
girls are more aggressive in signing up for programs. Not even the parents doing it, the kids will hear it, and you'll see the girls turn around and be like, yo, you want to sign me up for this? Like being
Mhm.
proactive. They're the same age, they're in the same classes, but they're more proactive and they're more aggressive about success in a way that the boys are aggressive in pushing each other, but they are not aggressive just I don't even know how to put it, but just in
Yeah.
just
But
in
it's always been
general.
like that though. Even back in the day with like voting rights and things like that. Like it was the women going out getting everybody signed up for that. So,
Yeah.
it's always kind of been that way. Fun
Right.
fact.
It's just
Well,
different. It's a different culture now. And as a woman, I think the big thing is the culture. And I think, you're getting psychological, you get a little political here. But before we get too deep, just touch on that. I do think there is a shift in male just male like the male guise of what it means to be a man, right?
Hmm.
And you almost are penalized you know what I mean, as a man for being a man, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you talk about the aggression, when we it's limited because if you're too aggressive then you're a threat, whereas with women now it was that in reverse, you know what I'm saying? Like with women it was like you got to be submissive, as a woman you play this role, and it's almost kind of been inverted in a bit, and we're kind of in a weird time because we're looking at, when you're as a woman you're looking at men, you're like, like be that, but they weren't raised that, so we're kind of seeing the lineage of, fatherless homes and the lineage of the women having to be the ones to go out and be educated and make the money. And so like we're just seeing the trickle effect of that in real time. So when you see like in sports, like where you really see the foundation of things for people, and because that's a baseline of organizing amongst us in sports. So when
Hmm.
you see it
mhm,
in real time, it's almost kind of like you cock your head and it's like, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? And then you
Right.
see on high levels of sports like NBA, Tyrese Halliburton is what, like 25 years old, right? Like he's no bit no older than 26, right?
Hmm.
So he's
no,
he's kind of
he's
like
25.
right under a millenn. Like is he a millennial? Like he's right under that cusp. Like he's right in that age range.
He's what they call Gen Z. He's Gen Z.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
He
when you look at
he
the
one of the
Gen Z
oldest of
category.
Gen Z.
Okay, so when you look at that category, you're kind of seeing that where that masculine energy has kind of tailed off in the men's space, and it's kind of so we're seeing a new generation of what that looks like. And I think it can be a bit alarming when you're looking and comparing to women, where now we're super masculine now, you know. So
Mhm.
I'm curious to see how those dynamics play out, you know, in time to come. But that's a whole nother subject for a
Yeah.
whole nother day.
Yeah.
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 But yeah. So y'all want to tell people where to find y'all at?
Yeah, yeah. Tap in. Find me on IG Peep Mani, PEPMANI. Tap in.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can find me actually on Substack. I'm dipping into writing articles now on a whole host of subjects. You can find me at Simbay Reads on Substack, all one word, SIMBAYREADS on Substack.
Awesome, awesome. And you can find the podcast page at the Trapman Sportscast, or it's Monica Cherie on Instagram and YouTube as well. The Trapman Sportscast on YouTube. And you can also listen on Spotify as well. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been a great little conversation that we had today. Shout out to Kason Wallace. He's dating Kiki Rice. Somebody just randomly texted me that, and I'm just like, oh, okay, cool.
Who's Kiki
And
Rice?
plays for UCLA, I believe. Basketball player.
See, I like them athletes. I like when
Love
the
basketball.
basketball player get with another basketball player or volleyball player. I like when the football player gets with another athlete. I like that because it lets me know that man or that woman is a thinking human. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I like that.
Nice, nice. And then shout out to OKC for winning the championship. Shout out to the Pacers for playing so well. Yeah. So yeah, we out.
Hold on, man.
Peace.
I got a question, Mom. I
Okay.
got one last question. We talking about Hooper. Talking about Hoopers, and it's not gonna get me canceled because it's a real question that got to be answered.
Okay.
Between Paige and Ozzy Fudd, let's say they get married, let's say they want to have a baby,
Mhm.
and let's say they don't want to adopt the first one. Who carries? Do you play a one on one tournament to see who carries and who gets to play the next
I'm
season?
crying right
Like,
now.
how you decide? No, because if I'm Paige, because you just can't tell your spouse, well, I average more points per game. I'm more important to my team than you are, because that's a recipe for a fight. You can't just do that off top, even if it might be true. So what do? How do they come to that decision? You know what I mean? Who get paid more? Who team need them more? Like how do they come up with that decision?
I don't even know, Monty. You
Because
got any?
I don't,
Hey, listen. You
No
got to play.
idea.
You got to be best out of 3 games, man.
Mhm.
Winner takes home, baby.
I'm crying right now.
That's crazy. Dang.
Oh my!
That's the fair way. Shit.
That is hilarious. I love it. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning into the Trapman Sportscast. And yeah, we out. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.